Hi and welcome. My name is Guy Bartram. I'm the Director of Product Marketing in our Cloud Infrastructure Business Group in VMware. And today I'm delighted to be joined by David Sharkochis. And David is the VP of Enterprise Technology and Field CTO at Lumen. So David, do you want to say a few words about yourself?
Hi, Guy. Yeah, great to be here. I've been with Lumen for just about 20 years now. It hasn't always been Lumen. Lumen is the latest and really the reintroduction of our company to the market, which we actually launched just a little over a year ago. And VMworld 2020 was actually one of the first public events we used to really, as part of that brand rollout. Lumen is a global communications service provider. We provide managed solutions for all the different ways you can swizzle enterprise applications and data. And we do that with a huge fiber network, right? 400,000 plus route miles of fiber and operations in 60 countries. And we have hundreds of thousands of offices and enterprise buildings on net, thousands of multi-tenant co-location facilities that are connected in, dozens of public cloud on-ramps. So that's the main physical asset base of the company. But then we deliver services over that network, and we deliver adaptive and software-defined networking services and edge computing services throughout that network, and cybersecurity capabilities that protect all the flows that roll through that network, as well as workplace and collaboration solutions that help people interact and build the applications that they need to build across that network. So it's a services plus network story, and that's who Lumen is.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing a little bit of research earlier on before this chat, and it was very impressive actually to see the heritage that you guys have in your size of your network. The sheer scale of it is really, I think it's probably one of the biggest networks in the globe. And that obviously provides some very unique advantages, especially when considering cloud and what customers want in terms of their hybrid cloud environments. So tell me, what are you highlighted some of the services that you provide, but if we talk specifically around the VMware services, what are some of the key VMware services in the portfolio?
Yeah, so we've been a VMware partner for just about as long as VMware has had a partner program. From the very first time that VMware started realizing that service providers could actually run their technology, not just IT departments buying it, but service providers running it. We've had managed service offerings in the VMware portfolio, and really helped and worked with VMware through the years on what their vision for the software-defined data center ought to be. Our flagship offering, and probably the main thrust of what we do with VMware, is our Lumen Private Cloud offer, where we run a VMware vCloud verified VMware Cloud Foundation reference architecture, and we run and operate and patch and then deliver value-added managed services over the virtual machine guests and the applications that run inside those environments. And we've historically done those types of services in a number of different enterprise multi-tenant co-location data centers around the world. But increasingly, we're hearing from customers the need to be able to run those private cloud environments, those VMware environments, anywhere our network can reach. Certainly heading up into kind of the public cloud in those sort of centralized environments, but also out closer to the digital interactions at the thick edge in a particular metro area, or the thin edge of a customer premise environment. And all the ways that VMware, at VMworld 2021 announced updates to their strategy to really reach the edge and have VMware and your technology platforms in the cloud business unit be able to deliver the necessary software-defined data center types of technologies in areas that aren't maybe necessarily thought of as traditional data centers. That really ties in well and fits in well with Lumen's overall network portfolio, which is similarly delivered in places that aren't always clouds. They aren't always large multi-tenant data centers. We're able to go and bring facilities on net and deliver services at those facilities in a wide range of form factors.
Yeah, and going back again, that network reach when you're looking at edge use cases is particularly good because you can provide the service end to end and provide
Indeed.
obviously the service level agreement end to end, which is a key differentiator for you guys versus someone else who doesn't have that network connectivity.
Well, yeah, and there's certainly a lot in the data center virtualization arena that VMware is well known for, and then increasingly becoming well known for sort of overlay networking and software-defined WAN to complement software-defined data center. But one of the things that we really find is that all overlay networks, all software-defined overlay networks need a software-defined underlay. Right. At some point, all of that virtualization, all that signaling, all that command and control traffic reaches a certain effort where if you're just going to always and perpetually use a best effort network, you're going to run into choke points. You're going to run into constraints, and having the ability to really design and tune and tailor your underlay network, whether that's with a private channel or a private lane or dynamic bandwidth or dynamic allocation of resilient ports, all the different ways that we can, for both public networks and private networks, design fit-for-purpose solutions that really help customers tailor their underlay network to deliver the performance they need, and then be able to use those great overlay features and functionalities to design policy and shape traffic and implement connection and value-added services around their overlay. Having that underlay network helps them avoid the choke points that almost always eventually rear their heads.
Okay, and you mentioned managed services at the start of this discussion, and just now value-added services. So tell me, what are the sort of managed services you provide, and is there a specialization in specific verticals, perhaps, that customers would be looking for? Have you seen that side of the business grow and change?
Yeah, so the managed services that we deliver in and around our edge computing portfolio are really geared up for, and we're seeing traction in sort of two, maybe sort of maturity layers or two pace layers in the industry. Our edge computing solutions powered by VMware tend to get leveraged, are getting increasingly leveraged by the asset intensive industries, right? Your logistics, your transportation, your energy, even retail, right? Workloads and digital initiatives that are very asset intensive are starting to really explore what their future looks like in terms of being able to run workloads out closer to the digital interactions between all those things. The other area where we see a lot of traction, it's maybe a little bit some of it is related to our VMware practice, but some of it is a little bit more sophisticated and direct in the way they engage with Lumen's resources, is in those interaction intensive industries, the media sector, the gaming sector, in some cases, the financial services sector, right? Mature industries that have been digitally transacting for years have always had an understanding of what latency means. When you're doing and you're running a business that involves a lot of digital transactions, you absolutely know how to value the milliseconds that flow through your value chains. So they've been looking with and working with Lumen to optimize networks, put workloads inside the networks, cache workloads inside of our networks with our content delivery network, run workloads in very specific geographic areas. We've been designing and working in those interaction intensive industries for years. What we're really starting to do is now map a lot of those lessons learned into those asset intensive industries where they don't have quite the historical appreciation for what the value of a millisecond might mean at scale, but are now starting to take a look at their overall application estate and apply some of those lessons learned from high performing networks, high performing application distribution strategies that we've built up in working with some of those more digitally sophisticated for longer periods of time industries, like you see in those interaction intensive examples I gave, and starting to apply that towards the asset intensive industries, whereby data is getting created more and more by more things in more places, and having those lessons learned really adds value.
Yeah, and you mentioned an interesting point, and there's a play for this in the kind of business as normal workload estate, but also more and more so in the dev-ready cloud and app modernization play, where a lot of these verticals are now starting to see the benefits of moving to a digital platform that provides them a whole different level of processing capability, a whole new world of APIs that open up and automation that open up to them. how's your kind of portfolio evolved then with VMware, specifically looking at that kind of next level infrastructure and application play?
Yeah, so just broadly speaking of some of the customers in those industries and the challenges they're facing, and then how we've really brought VMware in to help us align them. We really see throughout our customer base, they're all dealing with sort of these overlapping mega trends in the industry, right? There's certainly a set of discussions and higher level language we could get into about like historical eras of technological advancement, and really the cloud age was this third industrial revolution. But we're really starting to see the IoT age and the smarter facilities, smarter devices, a massive increase in digital interactions is starting to drive this fourth industrial revolution, and it overlaps still. A lot of leaders are still struggling with developing a strategy for how they're going to address the opportunities of the third industrial revolution, where they have all this data, all this enterprise data in their estate. They have to figure out how to gain access control around all of it, analyze it all, and take action against it to meet the needs of their business value proposition. But as this fourth industrial revolution starts to pick up steam, they're finding data in more places. More devices are creating more data. They're needing to acquire it from sources they didn't used to have to think about. They have to act on it potentially in a whole lot closer to real time, and they have to take that action with software that is pushed to places that didn't used to be data centers before. So these sort of overlapping challenges of how do I create an infrastructure strategy that connects and migrates workloads to the best execution venue and modernizes my app portfolio, sort of this traditional third industrial revolution set of cloud challenges. And they're also trying to think about how do I future-proof that and maybe expand that infrastructure strategy over time to run closer to the growing number of digital interactions between all the things and people and business models that are out there in my built environment. So we've been working with VMware, and our partnership with VMware has really evolved along those same two lines. We've been working with VMware in the cloud by running and managing software-defined data centers, helping to create one of those centralized pools of capacity for a customer's enterprise cloud estate. VMware being a leader in data center and infrastructure virtualization technology, but also a leader in modern application delivery. You're also a leader in the VMware technology around overlay networking and analysis of traffic patterns. Has really led us to build up one of our core alliance, really one of our strategic alliance initiatives with VMware around a joint innovation lab that we've built up with Lumen, between Lumen and VMware, whereby we're a principal partner in the VMware partner community. We have a joint innovation lab where we're building these technologies with your cloud BU and your network and edge BU to go and help not only expand those third industrial revolution type of cloud architectures that we can deliver powered by VMware anywhere the Lumen network can reach, but really start to think about all this explosion of data and how workloads need to be and software development patterns need to be able to reach a whole lot of places that hadn't always been thought of as a centralizing data center. So third industrial revolution cloud is really about centralization, and what we are seeing our customers ask us for are solutions that can really start to push software out a whole lot closer to the edge. And I think VMware and Lumen's assets and capabilities really line up well there for customers that are looking for an address to the challenges they have right today, but then future-proof those solutions for the years to come.
Yeah, you raise a really interesting point. I hadn't really considered actually that this fourth industrial revolution is or the rolling thunder, basically, which is these waves we're going through. I mean, we've been talking about Internet of Things for many years now, and 5G for many years, and the way this is going to accelerate data and transactions beyond anything we've ever seen before. And you're absolutely right. This hockey stick kind of curve is really going to start hitting people unless they start looking at offloading some of their normal day-to-day operations and focusing on this innovation and working with partners to do that.
We shared a story at last VMworld. So in VMworld 2020, we ran a whole series of sort of edge computing, fourth industrial revolution sort of roadshows and webinars as we were introducing the new Lumen corporate identity throughout 2020. And one of the things we would do is sort of poll the audience, and we would have IT decision makers and customer representatives from throughout enterprise IT on these webinars and presentations. And one of the questions we would ask everybody is, so thank you for coming. You're here, you've self-volunteered to show up at a talk about the fourth industrial revolution and this explosion of data and what the future of a distributed application architecture looks like. But we also recognize that a lot of you are still on a digital journey to the cloud. Right? Like, you're all still figuring out what your right hybrid cloud strategy looks like. Where would you rate yourself on a 1 to 4 scale, where 4 being we're a true digital enterprise, we're shipping code and shipping value and a continuous delivery model, or a 1 whereby we're barely even a digital company? The average answer was something like a 1.8 or a 1.9. Like, people are still pretty hard on themselves on where are we in terms of just basic agility about getting to the cloud and having a solid data center virtualization strategy that gives us the agility we need, let alone are we ready to go start exploding into this massive increase in the number of digital opportunities to go and correlate data and analyze things and closer to real time and drive workloads and the digital interactions which create value into more tighter harmony that can open up new revenue streams and business opportunities. But they know it's out there and they're self-volunteering to come here more because they want to figure out, what do I need to do today? What do I need to be doing longer term? And how do I pick the right partners that can help me thread the needle between those two historical eras?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I think picking the right partner is key, and also getting customers to realize that, when you're looking at these new development or new capabilities that cloud provides, whether it be Internet Things, edge computing, or just SDDC standard compute, they need a partner that crosses all of those different skills and has the resources to support them throughout that. But also one that is able to take their existing, and what a lot of people are still classing their business as usual legacy workloads, the stuff they haven't moved to the cloud because it's been a headache, and for a cloud provider to have skills to manage that for them. Is there any specific customer examples that you can talk about just briefly to give us an example of a customer story in this respect?
Yeah, so and I'll focus in on really the customers with whom we've been able to deliver VMware-based solutions as well. So there's one of those asset-intensive industries that we work with is in retail, and then food and hospitality, sort of a subsegment of retail. And recently, last year, worked with a client who, for whom we managed a large pool of VMware in their centralized data center estate, but they were dealing with a business initiative inside their supply chain, very topical for today, inside their supply chain, where they realized that one of their ingredients was being processed individually at all of their individual stores, all of their individual restaurants. And they felt like they could become better integrated. And they had a theory that they could actually save OpEx, save cost, and become more consistent and efficient, have less waste in their enterprise if they process those ingredients centrally. So they implemented a distribution and a processing initiative where they could go start designing the kinds of facilities that could, at volume, pre-process some of their core ingredients further upstream in the supply chain, and then distribute them all out into the stores completely ready to go. So just some traditional supply chain engineering, and they engaged with an industrial engineering organization, and they went and built out some of these processing and distribution facilities, but really found that those kinds of facilities, to work at the volume and the predictability and the measurability and observability that they need in order to run those environments, they needed to be as well instrumented as their core data center. And so Lumen ended up building in a very similar pattern to the VMware environment we already managed for them in their centralized data center, an edge computing facility inside that pre-processing facility to do the measurement and analytics and run some of the automation equipment that goes and manages the conveyor belts and the robotic arms and all the different kind of processing and measuring and quality control features of that smart facility, and where they were able to save $10 million on an annualized basis of all of the waste avoidance and driving increased efficiency, which they were able to measure based on the data that they were collecting out there at the edge from their VMware private cloud. So that's one example of a solution that we've been able to successfully roll out. Another one with a healthcare client, again, asset intensive in terms of the people and their health being a major asset. The healthcare customers of ours recently, had been working with them again historically they were longtime VMware and Lumen customers in terms of running their data center virtualization environment. We worked with them to really modernize and expand the capacity of their VMware environment and host it in a few key centralized locations so that they can start generating better software. They are an organization that was focused on senior care. They're an organization that recognized the changing and evolving needs of delivering senior healthcare. And then they faced 2020. Right, and the vaccine rollout challenges of what was coming. So it was a fortunate set of solutions whereby the modernization of their VMware cloud estate allowed them to start to think through the new application challenges of needing to go remote telehealth, changing the way they do scheduling with their healthcare clients, and then vaccination rollout and follow-up in a safe and effective method for their senior health constituents. They were able to go and roll out thousands of COVID-19 vaccinations in a very efficient method based on new workloads and business logic that they needed to be able to roll out quickly. And because we had that partnership with VMware and Lumen running it in a completely managed way, they were able to run and build and design that new business logic for this new changing dynamic of COVID-19 vaccination and follow-up and aftercare very efficiently and very effectively. Driving results in terms of healthcare outcomes as opposed to just traditional OpEx savings.
Yeah, I mean the real outcomes as well that affect real people is very important. And speaking of new things, is there any kind of new offerings, David, that you want to talk about for customers to kind of get some information about now? In regards to what's new in your portfolio.
For sure. Well, Lumen, from a application modernization and application business unit perspective at VMware, the Lumen Private Cloud now supports VMware or VMware Tanzu, or we can support. We can deliver. Basically, VMware talks a lot about getting Tanzu, paving the earth with Tanzu, and like making sure that Tanzu is the delivery mechanism and the management mechanism for modern cloud native applications. And Lumen has a lot of roads, and we can get Tanzu into places that are really hard to reach, both in terms of very granular deployments into metro areas where they can be shared, or deployments on smaller form factors inside the customer prem. So the Lumen private cloud, powered by VMware Cloud Foundation, we now have a version that supports and can deliver a base VMware Tanzu Kubernetes grid deployment. And so we can sort of not only run virtualization, but take advantage of the full power of the Tanzu portfolio in delivering modern applications anywhere a network can reach.
Brilliant. And I think this is really important. Again, just rewind a little bit. I'm going to say it once more because I constantly am honing this message in the moment that this is a developer Kubernetes ready environment with the secure guardrails that you want as an enterprise to ensure that you're not getting development on freeware, you're ensuring the applications they're using are being tested and validated, and you're very cognizant then of the capability of the platform, but also the performance of the platform. And this is something that obviously with VMware underneath, VMware Tanzu provides a lot better actually performance because it's significantly faster than VMs, but you are able to offer those SLAs and that quality of service that they wouldn't get elsewhere.
Yeah. That's why the Lumen and VMware partnership works so well together, right? Lumen has a tremendous amount of assets and an operational and a managed services capability set that knows how to deliver things at scale and knows how to operate and deliver managed services at scale. But we're not going to try to change the way our customers are creating value. We're not going to get into and try to change or alter their software delivery value chains. Those are hard enough to build right as it is. That's where VMware has some very opinionated and powerful models that help customers deliver new software, deliver new systems that are well integrated and secure. And what we just want to be able to do is power customers who are already bought into that VMware Tanzu way of delivering new value and delivering new applications, just extend its ability to reach and run and manage and deploy at scale.
Brilliant. David, it's been fascinating talking to you. Thank you very much for explaining what Lumen does and giving us an idea of the VMware services. Just to finish up, where should customers go to find out more information about the VMware portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, so VMware customers can find us at lumen.com/edge. If you're thinking about VMware-based solutions, we're also to any VMware customers, we're available on VMware's Partner Connect portal. You can find us. We're a principal partner there. We have master service competencies in the VMware community around cloud verified and the data center virtualization practice. So whether you're finding us through your VMware properties or finding us on lumen.com/edge, there's a lot more to find out and discover in terms of some of the other things that we're doing for customers to power solutions like these for modern business.
Great, and it's been a prosperous relationship throughout, and I hope it continues. David, thank you very much for your time today.
Great to talk to you, Guy.